today, we are focusing on a crucial and frequently overlooked distinction for this deep dive.
Yeah, we're getting into the difference between cleaning your lint screen or your exhaust vent and actually inspecting the internal cabinet of the clothes dryer itself.
Because it turns out the hidden mechanical reality behind that convenient appliance is just, well, a lot more complex than pushing a button and getting warm towels an hour later.
It really is. So we are going to explore the mechanics and the factual accumulations of debris inside the dryer chassis. And we're guided by federal research, manufacturer guidelines, and, the professionals who work in the field. I want to start with that satisfying chore, peeling off the lint blanket. We do it, and we naturally assume we just caught all the debris.
Right, it's a very human assumption.
But how does that assumption fall apart mechanically? Like, what's actually happening?
It falls apart because a lint screen is merely a filter. It's not a perfect barrier. Think about it. As clothes tumble, the fabrics are subjected to intense heat, friction, and constant agitation. This physical stress breaks down fibers into microparticles.
Okay, so the screen captures the big stuff.
Right. It captures a significant amount of the larger material. But some of those broken down fibers are so fine that a standard mesh grid simply cannot physically capture them.
They just slip right through the gaps.
Exactly. They pass right through.
Is someone actually tracking this migration of lint?
No, the government tracks it. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, the CPSC, actually ran a comprehensive study on lint accumulation inside electric clothes dryers.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, and their findings completely dismantled the idea that a perfectly maintained lint screen equals a clean machine. They observed that lint begins building up on internal dryer components from its very first use.
Wait, really? From load number one?
Literally, load number one.
Wait, so if I'm meticulous, like cleaning the trap before every single load, making sure the dryer is properly exhausted to the outside, I'm still getting buildup inside the machine. How does that physically happen?
You have to remember, a clothes dryer isn't just a warm spinning box.
Right, it's a bit more industrial than that.
It is a high-velocity air pump. It is designed to move massive quantities of air to carry moisture away from the tumbling clothing.
Okay, so when those microscopic fibers slip through the mesh.
Right. When they slip through, some of them naturally escape the intended internal ducting. They just leak directly into the interior cabinet of the appliance.
Okay, so relying on the lint screen is a bit like thinking a chain link fence will stop a sandstorm.
Oh, that's a perfect way to look at it.
I mean, it does an important job catching the tumbleweeds and the heavy debris, but based on the sheer nature of the environment, those fine particles are inevitably going to get through.
Exactly. And just like a sandstorm, the dryer is generating its own wind, right?
Yeah.
It is an active participant in pulling that material around.
The fence stops the big stuff, but the sand still piles up on the other side.
Right. But the air escaping the internal ducts is just one mechanism. The real chaos happens when you look at the environment of the laundry room itself.
Oh, because laundry rooms are inherently dusty, lint-rich environments?
Totally.
You're shaking out dry clothes, folding towels, pulling garments out of hampers.
Precisely. You are generating a constant cloud of invisible dust in that room. Now remember what we said. The dryer is a massive air pump.
It has to pull air from somewhere.
Right, to push it through the system. So it draws that ambient, lint-filled air from the room directly into the machine's casing to be heated.
Oh, I see.
So even if the internal ducts were perfectly sealed, the dryer is actively sucking airborne fibers from the surrounding room right back into its own mechanical chassis.
Wow. And what if the setup behind the dryer isn't perfect? Like that flexible transition duct connecting the back of the machine to the wall?
Oh, well, if that transition duct is loose, or if it has a small tear, or if it's even partially disconnected, the situation escalates rapidly. Instead of pushing all that heavy lint-laden exhaust air safely outside, it immediately sucks that dense lint-heavy air right back into its own internal components.
It's just feeding on itself.
Exactly.
So we need to talk about what is actually inside that metal box waiting for that lint.
Behind those painted panels, a clothes dryer is a dense, highly active mechanical environment. You have an electric motor driving a belt to spin a heavy drum. You have a blower fan spinning at high speeds. You have a complex network of wiring, sensors, and relays. And sharing that exact same cramped real estate is the heat source.
Which gets intensely hot.
Very hot. I mean, in an electric dryer, you typically have an electric heating element. These are thick coils of wire that draw a massive amount of electrical current until they physically glow bright red.
Like a giant toaster.
Exactly. And in a gas dryer, the heat source is a literal gas burner assembly. We are talking about an open, controlled flame firing inside a metal combustion tube.
So these are heavy-duty, industrial-level heat producers.
Yes.
Because you have highly combustible, ultrafine lint accumulating in the exact same confined space where that intense heat is being generated.
Yes, and the CPSC testing documented this specific phenomena. They found lint accumulating directly on the heater housings themselves. They documented it piling up on the floor of the dryer, right below these glowing coils and open flames.
Which naturally leads to a really common point of confusion for homeowners, and that is conflating vent cleaning with appliance delinting.
Yes, very common.
I think it's so easy to blur the two. You hire a company, a van pulls up, they use long brushes and a vacuum to clear out the aluminum tube going out the side of your house, and you think, great, my dryer is totally safe now.
Right. You are only addressing half the system, and arguably the half that is furthest away from the actual ignition source.
Right.
We need to clearly define the exhaust system here. The exhaust system is the static pathway carrying the air from the back of the appliance all the way to the outdoors.
The pipe.
Yes, the pipe. Cleaning that vent is critical. It removes blockages, reduces back pressure, and helps the machine run efficiently.
But it does absolutely nothing for the inside of the machine.
Nothing. Because delinting is a completely separate process, targeting a different zone. Delinting specifically addresses the accumulation inside the appliance chassis itself.
Inside the box.
Yes. You can clean a 20-foot exhaust pipe running through an attic until it is completely spotless. But if you leave a dangerous amount of combustible lint packed inside the dryer chassis, wrapped around the motor and the heating element, the hazard remains completely intact.
So the golden rule to remember here is this. A clean dryer vent does not necessarily mean a clean dryer.
Exactly.
But is this just a theoretical best practice, or is this like official protocol? Because honestly, it sounds like the kind of thing a technician might suggest as a helpful add-on service.
No, this is documented. Official guidance from the highest levels of the industry. The necessity of interior delinting is explicitly supported by both federal safety researchers and the engineers who design and build these machines.
Wait, really? The manufacturers say to do this?
Yes. The CPSC flat out recommends having a qualified service person periodically clean the interior of the dryer chassis to minimize lint accumulation. The major manufacturers make a clear, distinct separation between the exhaust vent and the dryer cabinet. For instance, we looked at documentation from Whirlpool.
Okay, what do they say?
They explicitly distinguish between removing lint from the exhaust vent and removing accumulated lint from inside the dryer cabinet. In their owner documentation, Whirlpool recommends having the accumulated lint removed from inside the dryer cabinet every 2 years.
Every 2 years. And they even note it might need to be done more frequently depending on how much laundry a family actually does, right?
Yes. And they specify this should be done by a qualified appliance servicer. Maytag says the exact same thing.
Oh.
Yeah, they provide guidance addressing the buildup inside the dryer and explain that the appliance may actually need to be opened up so the interior can be thoroughly cleaned.
So it's an engineered requirement.
Exactly. It proves that addressing interior lint is a recognized foundational maintenance requirement engineered into the life cycle of the product. It isn't just an optional extra.
Now, obviously, manufacturer-specific instructions always take precedence, and different brands have different specific timelines and access procedures. But the overarching consensus across the industry is undeniable lint builds up inside the cabinet, and it needs to be removed.
The engineers know it, the federal researchers know it, and as we move from the laboratories to the real world, the technicians working in the field know it better than anyone.
Right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens when someone actually opens one of these machines after it's been running in a family's home for 5 or 10 years. What do they actually see?
When experienced professionals pull off a front panel, they're accessing an environment that you and I normally never see.
Right.
Sometimes they just find a modest expected dusting, but frequently they encounter dense deposits of lint. It coats the wiring harnesses, it fills the blower housing.
The source document mentions something incredibly specific here, and honestly, it's a little chilling. It's not always just innocent, fluffy gray fuzz.
Oh, it's not.
Technicians frequently encounter lint inside the chassis that is scorched or even completely charred.
Let's pause and think about the gravity of that observation. What does a clump of charred lint actually imply? It implies that the material got hot enough to physically ignite inches away from a spinning motor and a glowing heating element.
But wait, why isn't this on the evening news?
Because of the specific nature of how fire statistics are gathered. National databases rely entirely on an event escalating to the point where it enters a formal reporting system.
Oh, like someone has to call 911.
Right. A fire department has to respond, put out a fire, and file an official report.
So what is actually happening inside the dryer then?
What happens is a micro event. A small pocket of highly combustible lint ignites inside the dryer cabinet. It flares up for a few seconds.
So that doesn't spread.
Usually because it is isolated or because it quickly burns through its immediate fuel supply. The consumer sitting in the living room might never even know it happened. Maybe they smell a faint, fleeting, burning odor for 60 seconds, and then it goes away.
It's a hidden near miss.
That is precisely what it is. It leaves physical, undeniable evidence inside the machine, that scorched clump of black lint. But it never makes it onto a spreadsheet in Washington, D.C.
That is wild.
Full-time dryer exhaust professionals routinely report finding this exact evidence in appliances where no reported dryer fire was ever known to have occurred.
Is this something we're hearing from just a few isolated technicians, or is this a widespread field observation?
It is an industry-wide observation among professionals who actually open the chassis. We can look at the perspective of Nathan Cox, for example.
Right.
He's the founder of Nate's Dryer Vent Cleaning Out in Florida's Space Coast in the Brevard County area. He also serves on the DVSC Technical Advisory Board.
Okay, so he knows his stuff.
Definitely. And his daily field experience directly addresses this gap between consumer perception and mechanical reality.
What does his team actually find when they go into these homes?
Nathan emphasizes that interior dryer cleaning has to go well beyond the lint trap. His point is that you have to inspect the motor, the wiring, the heating components.
The Dryer Vent Safety Council has a specific protocol for this, right?
They do. And it is governed by strict, non-negotiable professional boundaries. The very first step of that protocol is inspection. Inspecting the inside of the clothes dryer is an integral part of a comprehensive dryer exhaust service.
But the objective is not the indiscriminate disassembly of the appliance.
Far from it. Different dryer designs provide varying levels of access. Some have straightforward, easy-to-remove lower access panels. Others require a much more complex, multi-step process to get inside.
Okay.
But regardless of the design, before a single screw is turned, the most fundamental safety rule applies. Power must always be disconnected.
You unplug the heavy-duty cord or you go to the breaker box and cut the power.
Always. No exceptions.
Okay, so let's assume the power is safely cut, the technician is trained, and they have safely opened the access panel. What is the scope of the actual job?
The objective is to visually inspect the interior of the appliance, identify where the lint is settled, and when appropriate, physically remove the accumulated lint from those accessible areas.
Got it.
That is the core function of delinting.
So to pull all of this together, from the physics of the airflow and the CPSC lab tests to the manuals stuck in the junk drawer and the scorched lint found by field technicians, the main takeaway is that cleaning your lint screen is a vital chore.
Absolutely.
Cleaning your exhaust system to the outdoors is a necessary maintenance step, but neither of those actions, even if performed perfectly, addresses the accumulation of lint inside the actual mechanical chassis of the dryer itself.
Because sometimes the most important part of dryer safety is the part nobody can see.